welcome to another episode of Brewery Towns, the podcast that talks about brewing beer throughout the country. My name is Matt, and today I am joined via telephone by Madeline.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on again.
Of course.
Now, when's the last time we did an episode?
Oh man, I think it's been like maybe April. I feel like it was sort of the beginning of like the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah. We did Kalamazoo.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, thanks for coming on again today. Now, are you drinking anything now?
So not at the moment. I'm just drinking some lemonade. So it is a Wednesday night here, so I am trying to give up weeknight drinking and sticking just to the weekends, which is limiting my beer consumption, so which is probably for the best, but it's not the weekend yet, so.
Well, you're stronger than I am. I'm drinking this really good beer. It's called Shake.
Ooh.
And it's a chocolate porter from the Boulder Beer Company.
That sounds good.
It is really a really good dessert beer.
Yeah, it sounds like a good winter beer too.
Yeah. I have not been pouring them out, so I can't see what it looks like, just because I don't want to use a glass and have to wash it. But it seems like it'd be very thick and dark to me.
Yeah.
And it says that Boulder Beer Company is Colorado's first craft brewery, founded in 1979.
Oh wow, that's pretty early for a craft brewery.
Yeah, I'll have to look more into that.
So what are we doing today? Where are we going on our travel?
Well, we are going to do another small town. Last episode we did Beaver, Kansas, which had a population of only 18. So this is like a metropolis compared to them. But for most people, I think it's going to be a small town. And you may have heard of it before, actually, because it's quite well known for one reason. But we are going to travel to the town of New Harmony, Indiana. Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever been there?
So I've never been there, and it sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know why.
Okay, that's more than I could say before I started looking into it. Before we get too far, though, I just want to point out the sources. They come from Indiana on Tap, Visit Posey County, and this book called Indiana One Pint at a Time, which we will reference later. Okay, so New Harmony, Indiana, it's in southwestern Indiana, all the way down at the corner. It's in Posey County, and it's on the shores of the Wabash River. I think that's probably how you don't say it, but
that's okay. We don't know how to say things.
Yeah, that's true. People don't listen to the podcast to hear what other people have to say, okay?
Yes. Well, and then they can just message us with the correct pronunciation if it bothers them.
That's right. We're
open to learning.
Yeah. So apparently this Wabash River, it borders Indiana and Illinois. So New Harmony is really close to Illinois. It's just across the river. And it seemed like it'd be a pretty nice place to live because it's only 2 hours to St. Louis and only 2 hours to Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. That sounds like a nice place. Not in the big city, but you can get close. Yeah,
and it's very tiny. The city right now has a population of 753 people.
Oh wow, that's not very big.
No, it's not very big, and the most it's ever had is about 1,400. So it's never been a big city. Okay, so let's do the founding. It was founded in 1814 by the Harmonists. Have you ever heard of the Harmonists?
The Harmonies?
Harmonists.
Oh, I don't think so.
So they formed the Harmony Society, and then they called themselves the Harmonists, I guess.
So is this about singing, about music,
No, I think it's more about harmony, you're living in harmony, not you're singing in harmony.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
No. That's a good question.
I was on the wrong note.
I see what you did there.
Isaiah's going to be mad when he hears that I made that joke.
Well, I'm definitely going to keep it in there. Okay, so the Harmonists, they were persecuted Lutherans in southern Germany, and then they emigrated to Pennsylvania, and they lived in a town called Harmony, PA, It's still around. It's out by Pittsburgh to the west. And they lived there for 10 years. And then they moved to New Harmony, Indiana in 1815, 14, 15, around that time. And so what these guys wanted to do, they wanted to combine all their common goods and land, and they really wanted to live in the society that you weren't confined by things or spaces.
Okay. I like it. That sounds good.
Yeah, I think it has like a good idea behind it. So their leader was George Rapp. And I feel like when I say their leader, it's coming off as somewhat of a cult.
A little bit.
But they're very much like the Shakers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I mean, people could say they're kind of cultish too.
Yeah. I mean, I think any sort of extreme religion, like one way or the other, kind of takes on that connotation sometimes because, like, it's hard for outsiders to, like, understand.
Right. We're so easily to rush to judgment.
Very true.
Do you remember, like, the houses, though, that we learned about with the Shakers? Like, it was just, like, they get, like, a bed and, like, a wooden chair.
Yeah, but, like, do you remember everything was, like, built in the walls? Like, they had, like, those crazy, like shelves and drawers and, like, dressers that would just be built into the walls.
I forgot about that. That is a good point. I would want that in my house today.
That would be so awesome. I would love some good built-ins.
Okay, so they wanted to combine all their goods and land, like we said, and they believed in the second coming of Christ, and they forbade tobacco and sex.
Well, interesting. Okay.
So I don't know how they were gonna, grow the commune, but
yeah, I have some questions. I mean, tobacco, like, good call on that. Not a great habit. So, but the other one, you could argue it's necessary for the continuation of the religion, but it's fine.
Yeah, we won't get in too much into that because that's not this type of podcast, but so I just mentioned that because they forbade tobacco and sex, but they brewed their own beer.
Okay.
So this is why we're doing this city. So New Harmony, Indiana is actually credited with having the first brewery in the entire state.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was founded in 1816, and the first brewery in Indianapolis, the capital, I think it's the capital of Indiana, certainly the biggest city, their first brewery was in 1834, so 18 years later, so these guys were pretty early on.
Yeah, they were the pioneers.
Exactly. So let's see, I couldn't really find a name for the brewery, I just think it was probably just the brewery at New Harmony.
Yeah.
But we do know the brewmaster. His name was George Bentel. And if you go to New Harmony today, you can still visit his house that was only a couple blocks from the brewery, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I love that.
And I think, like, if not all of it, but most of the city of New Harmony is like a historic district.
Oh,
so
well,
I
it's
think,
probably not that big. So it's...
Right. I just think it would be a nice place to visit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It sounds like it'd be kind of like a quaint sort of historic town.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Something that would be right up the alley of us.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so George Bentel, he brewed a dark lager, also known as a Schwarz beer, because Schwarz, I think I'm saying that right, in German is black.
Okay.
And then beer in German is beer.
Of course.
I didn't know if you knew that one.
Well, that's the only German word that I know.
and boot.
Oh, yeah, and schnitzel.
That's all you need when you go over there, really, to have a good time.
I mean, yeah, that's what I thought, And in 5 years, when we finally get to leave the country again, maybe I'll venture out to Germany.
Yeah. I remember when we were in Germany and we tried to speak German to, like, the waiters, they would just speak English back to us. Like, they would not even, like, amused by our trying.
Must have been pretty bad.
Yeah, I know. We probably thought we were really good at it, but we just made 0 sense. Okay, so this beer must have been pretty good, this dark lager, because this guy named Ferdinand Ernst, he was traveling through New Harmony, and he was from Germany, and we have this quote of him that he wrote down. He said, "They served me a stein of beer, and I was not a little astonished to find here a genuine, real Bamberg beer." And Bamberg is in Bavaria, which is where these people came from. So what this guy is saying is that this little town in Indiana was brewing beer, on par with that of southern Germany.
That's a pretty high compliment.
I know. Okay, so this beer agent in Louisville wrote this about the brewery in New Harmony. "The most celebrated porter seller in the place says the strongest part of it would almost pass for porter and is the best he has ever seen in this country." So what he's saying is they were making a pretty good porter too.
Yeah.
So they had this dark lager and then they also had this porter, and you have two different sources here saying that they're some of the best that they've had.
That's pretty impressive.
I know. And then I just have one more quote for you, and I think you'll especially like this. And this is about the operations at the brewery. Okay. Quote, "A large dog walked on a treadwheel on a platform 12 feet above the floor, pumping water for the brew. As big as this dog was, he must have been spelled by another like him from time to time, for the Harmonists brewery produced 500 gallons a day." So they must have been going through dogs like clockwork.
Goodness sakes, I kind of feel bad for the dogs. That
I know. Unless they were like if Tex had to do that, I think he would just lay there. He'd be like a hamster in a wheel turning. It doesn't want to be there.
Or maybe they use huskies or something, where it was like a active dog. I don't know. That does make me a little sad, but thankfully they don't do that anymore.
Well, you see some of these dogs just running outside when these people are biking, and you're like, oh man, I feel bad for it, but they look like they're enjoying it.
Yeah, that is true, because I guess some of them like to run.
Yeah. So let's hope it's that way.
Yeah, we'll be optimistic.
Yeah, but they produce 500 gallons a day. So the people there, they only numbered maybe 300-400, but they were distributing the beer from West Virginia to Illinois. So they were actually making money off of this process. Yeah. Okay. So in 1824, the original group of Harmonists moved back to Pennsylvania, and a new group came in, and they were led by Robert Owen, and they created an Owenite community. You may have heard of that before.
I think so. Yeah.
It pretty much has the same ideals as the one before. In the picture online, they just envision building this almost, it looks like a castle with 4 walls around it. So it would have been interesting to be there during this time.
Yeah.
Okay, and they got a new brewmaster at this time. His name was Hugh Ansley, and he knew how to brew because he started breweries in Cincinnati and Louisville, which were pretty big beer cities back at that time.
So he knew what he was doing?
I think he knew what he was doing as well. Maybe not as much as George. Not as legendary as him, but pretty good. Okay, so that is all the history we have about brewing in New Harmony, Indiana, before modern time. So we are going to skip ahead to 2010. Now, when this guy named Doug Wissing, he wrote that book, Indiana One Pint at a Time, that we got a lot of this information from. And as he was researching the book, he actually discovered one of George Bentel's recipes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it was written in an extinct German dialect, so he actually had to get it translated from this extinct German dialect to German and then to English.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think that these people were coming over here and they weren't speaking English and they weren't speaking German. They just have their own form of language. It's just fascinating.
I forget sometimes that so much of Europe, they had their own sort of dialects before they traveled and stuff. It was just very interesting.
Yeah. I think the most interesting one for me is Scottish, because they're technically speaking a form of English, but then some of their words are just so out there. It's just
well, because then they also combine it with Gaelic, so it's like English and Gaelic, and it's like you don't always know where one ends and the other begins.
Yeah. I definitely want to get over there and experience that and just be confused in front of like an old Scottish man that's getting angry at me.
Yeah. And you need to watch Outlander, and then that will help you understand. But like, I have to turn the subtitles on because sometimes I'm like, I don't know what they said.
I'll have to check out Outlander. Okay, so we had this recipe. It came back to us in the early 2000s when he was writing this book, and the Brewers of Indiana Guild, for a couple years in a row, they actually had this challenge where they would use modern ingredients, but they tried to make these old recipes.
Oh, I love that.
It was pretty cool, and each year they called it the Replicale. So like replica and like ale, Replicale.
I like it. That's clever.
Yeah. So in 2010, the Replicale recipe was this one that was brewed in New Harmony, and let's see, the most popular ones was a beer called New Harmonists Dark Lager. It was brewed by Sun King Brewing Company, and the brewmaster there is Dave Colt, who was pretty much running all these Replicale challenges. And that brewery is located in Indianapolis. And then the one that you can still drink today is called Harmony Dark Lager, 3.60 on Untapped. And it's brewed at Great Crescent Brewery. And it was actually so popular, it was honored by the Indiana Artisan Project for like keeping part of their heritage alive.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that. That's like the perfect combination of history and beer, and it's everything that I love.
I know. It's just really cool that they did this. And I think it inspired a brewery that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. But first, we're going to go to New Harmony. And if you go there today, you can go to this place called Sarah's Harmony Way.
Oh.
And it was founded in 2012 by Sarah Brown, who fell in love with the town when she visited at a young age. And it's located in a building that was from the early 20th century, but if you go inside, they have coffee, wine, and beer. But I think of it looks like a flea market in there. There's just like a lot of stuff on the walls. All the furniture is like miss and match. And it just seems like a really fascinating place.
It's kind of eclectic.
Very eclectic, yeah. Like, like small town eclecticism, I think is the proper term.
Like, sometimes that can be super charming, but sometimes I can find it very like overwhelming and stressful. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I guess if it's like authentic, it's good, but like I bet Chip and Joanna are going to open a place like that in Waco. And we would hate that.
Yes, probably.
Okay, and Sarah's Harmony Way actually takes over 50% of all the Harmony Dark Lager that's brewed by the Great Crescent Brewery. So I think a lot of people go to this like New Harmony place and they want to drink a beer that used to be brewed there, so this is just super popular.
That's so cool. Like, you get to go to the like old town, the old brewery, and like drink an old beer. I love that. I
know. It definitely makes me want to go to this place even more.
Like, that's the living history experience that I want. Like,
yeah, I don't want to see you churning butter, lady.
Yeah, like, I don't care about the freaking butter. Give me a beer.
Yeah. Okay. In 2017, the first brewery in New Harmony since the Harmonists was founded. It was called Raintree Brewing Company, and it was named after the golden rain trees in town. I didn't know those were a thing, but...
Oh, interesting.
They look like, if you Google them, they just look like every other tree. And the owners were Ed Atkins and Casey Trela, and they were actually friends since high school. They were from the New Harmony area, and then they went their separate ways, and then they came back to the town and opened this brewery, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
So they were... It's hard to see, but I think they were technically located inside Sarah's Harmony Way, and because they sold their beers exclusively at that place.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So they were a little bit late to the party, but they brewed a beer called Harmony Beer, 3.65 on Untapped, and it was their version of the old recipe.
Okay, interesting.
And to make it more authentic, I guess they actually imported hops from Germany. And when people think of hops, you get like that taste in your mouth. Some people like it, some people don't. But hops from Germany are a lot less subtle than American hops, or more subtle. They're less bold and more subtle.
Less bold. Okay.
Yeah.
So I bet that's like a really distinct flavor.
Yeah. I mean, when you taste like a beer, I think you can tell if it's like from Germany because it has like that. I'm not a cicerone, so I don't know the flavors, but one day.
One day, yeah. I have not been to Germany and tried German beer yet, but that's on the bucket list. So.
I mean, you can get some German beer over here in the States.
Yeah, that is true. I just never think to do that because I'm always like trying to, try like a brewery, like a new brewery, so I forget about like imported beer.
Yeah, me too. I go straight to like the Texas section or the Colorado section, and I just skip over all like the other countries.
Yeah, same.
The only country I care about is Texas.
Yep, that damn right.
Isn't that what David Crockett said?
I'm pretty sure.
So Raintree Brewing Company, I could not find much information on them. There was a really good article written when about the time they were founded, but their website is gone, their Facebook is gone, and it seems that they closed sometime in 2018, which was only like a year and a half maybe after they opened.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's really bizarre because in the article that was published, they said they really didn't have any money for marketing because they were spending all their money on brewing beer because there was such a big demand for the beer that they were brewing.
That does not make any sense.
I know. So if Ed or Casey are listening, drop us a line, tell us what happened.
Yep. Like, let us know your business plan. Maybe we can,
If you still have the equipment, I think we're interested.
Yeah, we can do it. I'll move to New Harmony.
Yeah, I'll move anywhere, really.
I mean, yeah, just sign me up.
As long as we can park our tiny houses, we'll be happy.
Well, yeah.
And because they closed in 2018, no one's opened up in the town since, so that is really the end of the brewing history in New Harmony. But it still lives on, because if you go there, you can grab a beer at Sarah's Way. And
yeah, well, I guess that's good.
Yeah. It was a little disappointing, but, I mean, it's just that city had the first brewery in the entire state. And now they don't have any breweries.
Well, and, like, I feel like you could definitely make that, like, a place to go to try the old beer. Because, like, I'm, like, super disappointed now that I can't do that. Because that's, like, so cool. I love the idea of, like, going to a place and drinking, like, an authentic, beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But we'll still go back there.
Yeah.
Next time we're traveling, it's probably not too far away from Pawnee.
I mean, probably so. And, like, maybe we can meet up with Leslie Knope and see if she wants to come with us, because she could probably tell us, all of the history of the town, like the rest of the history, like, outside of brewing.
I'm not going to lie to you. That has been a dream of mine.
Yeah.
A literal dream. I've had it in my sleep.
Honestly, I mean, I'd be fine with that. Also, Leslie Knope for president 2020. Just going to put that out there.
I'm like really disappointed that I put my Knope 2016 sticker on my old car and then it just got ruined. But I think they sell Knope 2020 stickers. Oh
my goodness, you should get one for the new car.
I might.
And just keep adding them on until
every year until it happens.
Yeah.
Well, that is all we have for today.
Okay.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah,
I like the small town breweries.
Yeah, the small towns are a little bit difficult to do because there's obviously not that much of a history. But I mean, I thought this was really fascinating, and I didn't know any of this before.
Yeah, no, I think this one was like really cool because it's got the, the history of the group and stuff that came over. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if you want to Wikipedia it, just look up the Harmonists.
Okay.
And hopefully we get you back here soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if anyone's interested in learning more about New Harmony, please visit our website at brewerytowns.com and keep up with us on Facebook and Instagram at brewerytowns. And that was another episode of Brewery Towns.